place to promote the growth of Tigres in English through analysis, discussions, interviews, and more. Welcome to the Lautimes podcast. And welcome back to the show, everybody. It's Tuesday night, which means it's our recording night. Here on the Lautimes podcast, where we talk about Tigres in English. Thank you for joining us tonight as we get people in here for the live stream. We're gonna get going here pretty quickly because we've got a fun little start to the episode that we'll get to here in just a second. I'm very happy to be joined by my friend down in Austin. You know him as @Tigres_English on the Twitterverse. It's my friend, the amazing Lou himself. How are you?
What's up, Dennis? Great to be here, man.
Good to have you back. I guess I should have introduced myself. I'm Dennis. I'm the host and the producer of the show. And tonight we're going to kick things off pretty quickly because we have a very special guest joining us tonight. Our first segment, we've got a lot to talk about tonight, as we usually do, but our first segment of today's episode is about the Tigres versus Seattle Sounders matchup in the quarterfinals of CONCACAF Champions Cup. And what better way to talk about Seattle Sounders than bringing in somebody who knows Seattle Sounders very, 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 very well. So it is our honor to bring in Cameron, live from Seattle, joining us from the Sounders Scuttlebutt podcast. Cameron, thank you for joining us. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm great. I'm lucky enough right now to be actually at the Sounders offices because I had meetings here, and I thought, well, I'll sneak off and come join y'all.
Absolutely wonderful. We appreciate the dedication, and I must say I'm a little bit jealous that you're just casually sitting up there on a Tuesday night, just hanging out at the offices. I am a little bit envious, I must say. Thanks again for joining us. Real quick, if you're joining us live, come hang out in the chat. If you have questions for Cameron, leave them in the chat. That helps us out with engagement and stuff. And if you're listening on podcast later, you guys know what to do. Subscribe, leave a rating, all that good stuff. And share this link with somebody, especially if you're on Twitter. All right, Lou is going to kick us off with a few questions just about Cameron and about the podcast, and then we'll get started later on with talk about the matchup. So Lou, this is your show for the next few minutes.
Cameron, appreciate you giving us this space, this time. I know you're a busy person, so thank you for giving us the time. I also want to shout out Edgar from News Across the Galaxy, who runs an LA Galaxy podcast, who kind of made the connection. So one thing we love about these types of competitions is being able to collaborate with people from MLS and other countries and getting to meet people who do similar things to us and enjoy the game. So it's a pleasure having you here. For those in our audience that might not know who you are, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Cameron. I am one of the hosts of the Sounders Scuttlebutt podcast. I have also been super involved with the Sounders in the MLS forum for a long time. As a fan, I go back well before MLS, but I am the president of Gorilla FC, which is one of the three major supporter groups for the Sounders. We tend to focus on community more than anything else in what we do. And for many years, 5 years, in fact, I was president of the Sounders Alliance Council, which is the fan government, and now I'm the secretary. So I'm actually having someone else take notes for me right now as I'm on here with you guys as we're in a meeting about jerseys. So that's the one beautiful thing is we always get to know what upcoming jerseys are before anyone else, but they make us sign an NDA, so I can't reveal any of that information.
Awesome, man. Well, I've been listening a little bit of your podcast in preparation for this segment, so it was great to make that connection and kind of get to know your podcast a little bit. So that's been awesome. How is the Sounders community? I'm assuming you live in the Seattle area.
Yeah, born and raised in Seattle. Moved away for college and then moved to Paris and then came back to Seattle after that. So I'm almost a lifelong Seattleite. And growing up, we didn't have the Sounders because there was no outdoor soccer. we had MISL, so we had the Tacoma Stars. Sounders came back when I was in high school. So been a current fan of the current iteration, I guess, of the Sounders since the 90s. We trace our roots back to 74 and always a big soccer community in Seattle. A lot of American players came out of here, including Casey Keller. And just growing up, we didn't play Little League football. We played Little League soccer. So it's in the city, we were soccer kids. So it's always been a major part of who I've been. It wasn't really until I went to Fat Camp in San Diego during the 94 World Cup that I really got into soccer on a whole new level. But I played long before that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I'm assuming since you were born and raised in Seattle, you support all the Seattle teams?
Yeah, I don't like that Rangers hat right now. They keep coming back and beating us. But yeah, definitely big, huge Seattle fan of every Seattle team. And then San Jose Sharks, since I lived in the Bay Area for a little while. So we have the Kraken now here too. But doesn't matter which team it is. Seahawks just won the Super Bowl. Amazing. It'd be nice if the Mariners could win for a change. Maybe the Dodgers can let us win this year.
A little off topic, not soccer related, but I've heard stuff about, at least rumblings about the Supersonics. What are the odds there? Do you know anything about that?
So you're talking to the right person in that there's a documentary called Sonicsgate that came out, oh gosh, maybe a decade ago now, that I am one of the associate producers on. You can find that on YouTube. Just search up Sonicsgate.
What? That's so cool. What the heck?
There's the full hour-and-a-half version, which is the one I recommend, or there's the shorter 44-minute version that we cut for TV that was on CNBC and later ESPN Classics. So that goes through the whole history of the Sonics and how they were stolen. I work for a minor league basketball team. I'm the GM of corporate affairs for one and the lawyer. And Gary Payton is our associate head coach. And Robert Pack from the Nuggets is our head coach right now. And we have a couple other pro, like a WNBA All-Star and other people involved with the team. And Gary Payton is confident that even though it's like, oh, they aren't for sure coming back, that they're coming back. That we just needed them to say they were going to take bids. So the hope is, I cried the day I found out they were going to leave, knew it was done this moment they sold it to Clay Bennett. And so getting the Sonics back would be incredible. And Kevin Durant wants to be involved. He spent his rookie year here. So I'm excited.
Man, I have like really good memories of the Sonics from the 90s, Supersonics from the 90s. I mean, Sean Kemp and just electric players, the glove, and
we just
would love to see them come back.
We did a Supersonics night at the Superhawks game a couple weeks. It's the night that they announced the bids were going to be allowed, and it was Sean Kemp, Gary Payton, Big Smooth Sam Perkins, and Xavier McDaniel, the X-Men, all rolled through and came and were honored. So we did just have the huge 90s Sonics night at my team that plays over here at Seattle Pacific University. We're like one below G League, right? So there's NBA, G League, and then we're the new USBL.
Well, I'm definitely pulling for you guys. I feel like that's a team that definitely needs to come back, has an awesome fan base, and it was such an electric, awesome team to watch. So I hope they do come back and there's no issues. I'm a Houston Oilers fan, or was a Houston Oilers fan, and we had a lot of issues when Houston came back. They wouldn't release the name, and so they became the Texans, and that's a whole mess where lawyers get involved. And so I'm hoping everything's smooth for you guys and you can get your team back. I think you deserve it.
Luckily, Clay Bennett's hated the Sonics name, and all the Sonics have refused to be retired as Thunder players. And so I think money speaks, and he's going to listen. And
the NBA is better when Seattle is involved, 1,000 million%.
Yeah, so I miss it so much, let me tell you.
Yeah. Soon. It's coming soon.
Getting on track with the Seattle Sounders. How do you see this series playing out against us, against Tigres? What do you see in the future for these games?
I think a lot of it's gonna be what happens down there in this game tomorrow. It's the Sounders defense is incredible right now, and the offense. I don't think we have one goal from a 9. So forwards aren't scoring. It's the wingers that are scoring. It's defenders, all sorts of people. But the hope is for the Sounders fans, right, is to go down there, keep it to a 1-goal game if possible, and then come back home as the team with home field advantage and a chance to win. Especially seeing the form of Tigres at home and away during this tournament. Cincinnati, boy, that was a fun game you guys had in that second leg versus Cincinnati. And it was, in some ways, I'm glad we're playing you all because we've had some fun series in the past. I think back to 2013, where two of the most famous goals in Sounders history happened, where DeAndre Yedlin and Jimmy Traore had just these banger goals from way outside the box that still get shown in highlight reels. But you all are scary, right? Like when you're on, you're on. And so I think a lot will be what does that offense, how does it match up versus the Sounders defense, which has only allowed a handful of goals this year. Sounders only have 1 loss the whole season. They've been really solid on the road. They did not lose a game in the last month. And because even our home match against Vancouver in the CONCACAF Champions Cup was a road game, because it was in Spokane, Washington, because our Lumen Field shut down right now because they're putting in grass for the World Cup. So this is going to be a fun series. Obviously, it's a little more nerve-wracking than having to play Cincinnati, who's one of the pretenders in the MLS. They always get said that they're the best team, and then they never win it. So a lot more travel, but you know what? You got to beat the best anyways if you're going to win it. And the Sounders are the only American team to have won the current iteration of the Champions Cup or Champions League. So we're super excited that we get to play Tigres again.
We'll see what kind of Tigres team shows up. We've been fairly good in Conca play in the Champions League, but very inconsistent in league play and have had some trouble scoring. So with the Sounders playing such good defense and Tigres not finding the back of the net, I think it's going to be a very interesting game series. It could potentially.
Oh, I think we lost you, Lou. Yeah, your mic is out, Lou. Oh, we completely lost him. Are you
Alex, who just commented there? He's on the Sounders Scuttlebutt podcast from time to time.
Yes, saying the second leg is going to be packed. The Sounders finally play at home since February, and saying it's going to be a good match across both legs. Alex, thanks for commenting and joining us. Lou, are you back now? Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Where did you guys lose me?
I think like right at the beginning of what you were saying.
Yeah, you said it was where we were was you said that with Seattle playing good defense, it'll be interesting to see because there has been struggles in the league play.
Yeah, and perhaps it ends up being a very low scoring series. We'll see. Because with Tigres, I don't think we've been able to figure ourselves out in these last 3-4 months. And so the away goal could potentially be a defining factor in this one. What would you say are the glaring weaknesses in Seattle? Is it set pieces, or how would you define the weaknesses in the squad?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting this year to figure out what that might be because we've played away from home so far, and the team plays so differently at home than on the road. They're so electric at home. And some of the stuff that they've really struggled with last year, they've kind of gotten better. I mean, defensive set piece defense was probably their biggest weakness last year. And they've improved a lot on that. I mean, that cost them their playoff series against Minnesota last year. But I honestly think no matter if they have possession, like they can destroy the other team in possession, it's servicing the forwards in a way where they can score goals. I mean, it's turning those goal dangerous moments into actual goals has been the issue. There's been a ton of injuries. We don't have Pedro de la Vega, who broke his knee at the end of last season, who is probably our best player. Jordan Morris has been hurt. But I mean, you have someone like Paul Rothrock that's been able to step up from the wing, kid who grew up in Seattle, had a chance to move to another team, came back this offseason as a free agent, and has scored, I think, half of the goals that the Sounders have scored this season so far in all competitions. So I think the weakness is the scoring. And so if it ends up being a low-scoring affair, that may play into the Sounders game, because you saw even at Houston, horrible game for the Sounders this past weekend. Like, didn't look great. Never looked. I mean, we win a lot in Houston, but the humidity always gets us. It was a night game and it was raining, but all it took was one errant ball that went to Paul Rothrock, and he kicks it in, and that's the goal in the 83rd minute, and they won. So you keep a clean sheet, you're guaranteed a chance to advance, just because then you come back home and see what happens.
So I got a 2-part question for you. I think I know what the answer is based on how many times you've name dropped him here in the last minute or two. So tell me, in your opinion, who the key player for y'all is right now, like just based on form and how things have been. It sounds like it's Rothrock, but maybe you have a different answer. And then the inverse, is there a guy on our side who you look at and you're like, ooh, like this guy could be the X factor in this series from a Tigres perspective?
Oh, that's a great question. I wish I had Alex with me, to be honest, because he's my Tigres master on our podcast in terms of actual players. But I mean, Rothrock definitely has been, I wouldn't say a revelation, because he did this at the end of last season. But the fact that he's continued to, he wasn't expected to start. Jordan Morris was starting, and he stepped up when Jordan Morris got hurt and immediately had an impact. But for me, it's Paul Arriola. Last year, he came on and was probably the best sounder until he got hurt. And
former FC Dallas legend Paul Arriola to you.
And when he plays with Jesus together up top, they know each other so well. They don't even need to look where the other one is. They know where he's going to be and just passes it to an open spot, knowing that he'll be there. And so the fact that they both came over together and they didn't get to play last year, I think is a huge benefit to the Sounders. And so I would look, for me, as Arriola. Like, he is, I don't know, he's like a little gremlin. He's listed at 5'8". He's not 5'8". That dude is like 5'4", and then he gets down and plays like this.
Yeah, he's tiny.
Yeah. So I love having him out there. In the game in Vancouver, he had a couple goals, and it was like his coming back party. It was almost a year to the day from when he got hurt. And so Rothrock is the obvious person to watch out for, but I'm saying Arriola, like, he is so dynamic, especially if he's out there with Jesus Ferreira.
Gotcha.
Question is, like,
go ahead.
I'm pulling up the roster right now because I'm trying to think of who the guy I was watching the other day. I know they sat the forwards over the weekend, right? But Angel Correa is always someone that I've been worried about watching play before. So is he expected to start, or do you think they'll?
Yes. Yeah. There was a lineup that came out today from one of our local reporters down in Monterrey, the lineup that they were using in training today. I think you might be surprised. Juan Bruneta was not a part of that starting 11, and all signs indicate that he will not start tomorrow night's first leg. So that's something to watch out for. But Correa is expected to start with Rodrigo Aguirre up top in the forward roles.
And then, I think it's just because of his longevity, but Gignac, like, is a player that I've always I don't know, maybe it's because, I lived in Paris for a while and follow the French league. But he's been a player that I've always watched and been like, oh, he's kind of a pest. He can come out of nowhere and score goals, or just change the game when he wants to.
Even at 40, he can still do that. We have a question from the crowd, a lighthearted question. Our friend AJ, who's usually with us here on the recording, saying, can we get a shout out to Osvaldo Alonso?
Yes. Ozzy is probably the most beloved Sounder of all time.
Yeah.
And, he actually owns the team in Spokane where the Sounders just played that a home/away match against Vancouver. So he was out there welcoming the team. But yeah, Ozzy Alonso, incredible person. I got to meet him a bunch of times. He came and shaved my head for child cancer hood research, like raising money for it before. Just such a good dude. So, I got to present him when he was retired. He came back. I got to go up and wave the flag behind him and present him with the flag in order to have the whole stadium cheer his name. So I got to go down on the field and do that for him as the president of the Lions Council. So it was pretty
really cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Lou, what else you got?
Cameron, what's the most common formation that Sounder runs that typically runs?
I mean, right now it's interesting. They're running. It's a 4-5-1, I guess. They really have four at the back. Then they'll do two at the pivot, the center defensive mid, a left mid, a right mid, a center attacking mid, and a striker up top. But the way they play isn't always that, because like if you have Jesus Ferreira on the right, or they have this new young kid they just signed who went to Seattle University, then transferred to University of Washington. So local kid, ended up playing for Ballard FC when they won the national championship in the USL2 3 years ago. And now they traded Georgie Manungu because this guy's so good. They didn't need one of our fastest players anymore. Traded him to Colorado to bring Peter up. They play, rather than playing like a winger, he's playing more as like a in the pockets, and so players shift, and so you end up having two strikers. So it's not really a set formation. Often you'll have two strikers up top and bring the right back up more often than the left back, because Nuhu tends to get too excited at left back and run up too far and kick it crazy. And
I have seen that a few games here and there.
Yeah, luckily for the Sounders, Nuhu is now the captain of Cameroon. So he has really matured a lot and takes it seriously, and he's been with the team since he was young, right? And we're seeing him move past a lot of the previous antics. I mean, even he got a red card in the Club World Cup for like chest butting, like bumping up against another player on Botafogo. So we don't see that Nuhu anymore this year, and it's pretty cool. But he's a lockdown defender when he's back. So you'll see it kind of shift the field like this, where the right side will move up, and then you have two strikers, and those center defensive mids at that pivot can go up at any time and help out. So that's largely what you will see. Every once in a while, we'll play five at the back with some wing backs, but I think we've been using Paul Arriola more on the wing rather than as the wing back, which I think was his more natural position when he was playing in Mexico.
Right. You got something else? I had something.
Well, that was just gonna lead me to another question. Do you tend to favor one side when you attack? Is there a certain wing, or is there more play up the middle? How do you see it, or is it pretty balanced overall?
I think it's more wing play, for sure. We don't we go through the middle in that our center attacking mid is the quarterback. He's the one that's telling everyone where to go, what to do, but the ball doesn't always go through him. I think play more through the wings for sure. Interestingly, even though we're a possession team, most of our goals have come in the counterattack this year or in transition. So we've been scoring in ways that haven't been expected, but definitely through the wings. And traditionally it was through the wings and then you cross it into the center, but that's not what I think. The wingers are cutting in and creating space that's allowing other players to step up, since we aren't getting goals from our forwards.
That's interesting. It'll be a very interesting game then, because it sounds very similar to what we run, kind of the way we shape up to. It worries me a little bit that you mentioned that you guys are very good in transition, because we're very poor in defensive transitions. So that's another thing to watch out for in this game. My last question is the $1 million question, the prediction. How do you think it goes down? What's your score prediction?
Oof. I mean, I've got to go for the Sounders, right? I'm in their offices. I'm a Sounders fan. I tend to be the pessimist on the podcast. We don't have a goal from the number 9. We don't have our best player because he's out until after the World Cup. But this team has found a way to win because they play together and they play for each other. And not that other teams don't, but these are kids. A lot of them are kids who grew up in Seattle. They were in the academy together. We've really grown this youth program to a point where they're now starting on the team. And so they've known, Jackson Reagan, the center back, and Paul Rothrock, the left midfielder, have been close friends since middle school. So you have these people who've known each other, and they've been playing with Christian Roldan and other players who are older for a long time while they were on the academy team. So I honestly think if the Sounders can get a goal down there, maybe a 2-1 loss down there, and then the Sounders come win here, probably 2-1 again. But I think that away goal is going to, if they can get that away goal, it's going to hurt Tigres moving forward, because they're going to have to push forward. And then that's when the transition goals happen more often. I think Schmetzer has made clear that he's not the type of coach who's going to sit back and just, I mean, we can when we need to absorb attacks, but the Sounders are better when they are pushing forward and trying to score goals. So I think that they want to go out, they want to score a goal early and make Tigres have to earn it. But that can also come back and bite them, right? That's going to leave the defense a little more exposed. We'll see what happens. But that I think 2-1 down there, and then the Sounders come home and put it away.
Historically, you guys have had our number, as you know, so this isn't a series we're extremely confident in. And the Sounders are just, you know, a respected team amongst our fan base. So it'll be a fun watch for us, and we'll be kind of nervous throughout. So we'll see how it goes.
And your fan base shows up in Seattle. It's always fun when they come out. I mean, it's been really cool. Like, I don't like the Cruz Azul fans when they come out, but the Tigres fans are fun.
Who does? Who does, bro? Nobody likes
do you foresee? Do you foresee any Sounder fans traveling to Monterrey? Like even a small group?
Yeah, there'll be a contingent for sure. I think if it had been around later, there would be even more. But there's always Sounder. I mean, we've traveled down to Mexico pretty well in the past. So I expect there to be, especially through ECS folks, the main big supporter group. I would expect them to have a good showing down there. And I tell you what, though, that environment as a away fan is going to be incredible to be in. And I imagine as a player to come step in there and play just with I mean, first off, isn't it like the altitude is so high and then the fans are so crazy that it's got to be just a totally exhilarating atmosphere.
It's not as high as other places in Mexico, Monterrey is, but
Seattle's below sea level, so
that's true. It's gonna feel like a lot. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I've got a question I wanted to ask you real quick. Well, I have two, but one of them about like just y'all's roster. Tell me about the goalie situation, because I've kind of been trying to figure out, like, is there a transition happening with Fry and Thomas? Is that like happening where like now, like, instead of Thomas being the guy playing like the Cup games or whatever, he's now the main starter and Fry is not playing like the Cup games and it's the backup? I assume that's what's happened. Tell me what you think about that, because I think for a lot of us who have been following, you know, football here in this part of the world, like, Stefan Fry is by all accounts a legend, especially when it comes to MLS. When you think about, you know, obviously his save in that MLS Cup final back in Toronto.
There. Right in front of me. Man. I was like, even at the goal line.
Wow, I bet that was great. So yeah, just tell me about that transition and how that's been.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I'm going to say Steph is an amazing dude. Like, when COVID happened, we had the COVID relief fund, and I served on the scoring committee and we ended up giving money to, you know, the Sounders gave money to every single business or person affected by games not happening. So if you worked at a local restaurant, we were paying some of your bills, or the restaurants themselves, we gave money, and Steph was on that with me. So I've gotten to spend some time with him. One of my favorite Sounders. But yeah, I think you saw a transition start to happen last year where Andrew Thomas was clearly, I wouldn't say better, but maybe his game was more suited to what the Sounders needed. They have different strengths and different weaknesses. Andrew's way better at penalties. I mean, you saw in the playoffs last year, before they went to penalty kicks at the end, they subbed in Andrew to take over for Fry, and that felt like we didn't know Fry was coming back. That felt like the end for him. The fact that he did come back is incredible. To have a legend like him who can still start games on your bench is great. And I mean, they very much said it's an open competition, but I think they knew from the beginning, like, this starter is now Thomas, but like they did in the past, they're going to give the backup the cup matches. So to be able to have a superstar like Fry come in, who's in the running for goalie of the year every year, and just, you know, I think he's second all time in shutouts in MLS history behind Nick Raimondo, who, I mean, as an legend. MLS keeper there's no one better. Like, he is incredible. So, and just such a gritty dude who, like, play with gashes in his face and still get out there and make big saves. And like, any goalie should want to be as good as him. So, yeah, I love Steph. He's a great human being. He's a great player, but I think it was time to move on.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I think Thomas has done a really nice job so far in the games that I've seen y'all play, and obviously I hope that he's not as good against us over the next week or so. But it has been interesting to see that transition sort of play out.
I mean, he's the reason the Sounders beat Houston. Like, he
Yeah,
had huge saves in that game.
yeah, sure, that makes sense.
And that's
I
what
was,
Houston's a tough game for me, as they are actually my San Jose Earthquakes. The current Earthquakes are not my Earthquakes. That's my Earthquakes when I lived in
yeah,
San Jose. So
yeah.
the Houston championships were built on the back of my Earthquakes.
Yeah, for sure. I've got one more, and then we'll get you out of here.
Cool.
World Cup in Seattle this year. You're talking about it, but I just want to hear your perspective on how the Club World Cup was last year up there, with y'all hosting a ton of games. Like the Sounders played every game at Lumen Field, got to play against a huge team, the Atletico de Madrid. We're now Obed Vargas is playing at. Like, just tell me how that was, like the city, the atmosphere, being at those games, just how the team has like grown since then. Because I think not just for Sounders, but for the city, I think that was a really unique experience to have like that corner kind of be its own thing as opposed to the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, it was so fun. I think, I went to all the games. I didn't plan on it. Actually, the reason I have World Cup tickets is because of the Club World Cup, because they did some deal at some point where if you bought 2 tickets to 2 games, you could buy 2 tickets to any World Cup game except the final. So I was able to get USA Australia tickets here on Juneteenth. I'm going to take my dad, who's 85, and so we go to most games together. So I've always wanted to take my dad to the World Cup. I don't like FIFA. FIFA is a corrupt organization. It's bummer. I'm going to be dealing with like when the World Cup comes, we're going to have like fan liaisons. We're going to be here ready for rapid ICE response. Like, we have a lot of stuff that we're planning on doing in the human rights areas, that stuff that's coming. We didn't need that yet for the Club World Cup, but we started thinking about it as far back as then. It was interesting to see all the teams come through, especially, oh my God, the Urawa fans, the Red Diamonds from Japan were incredible. Like, awesome. My seats were on the other side. I went and sat with their fans. Like,
that's awesome.
It was so much fun to be down there and just, the Sounders played PSG, which I used to live in Paris, and that was, they were terrible, or they're mid-table when I lived there. But it's funny where, like, I've been supporting them for 25 years. I support Chelsea since I was in high school when they were terrible, and then they got bought out. It's like my teams get bought out by billionaires and everything changes. So billionaires, if you're listening, the Sounders, no, we're looking for some investment right now, actually, billionaires, so we can change the team around. But it was so fun to watch the Sounders play. And I think, the Sounders lost every match. They played Botafogo, they played Atletico, they played PSG. But they didn't get blown out. The Atletico match was probably one of the more difficult ones. Although in PSG, they had you'd see they'd have 35 runs down the right side. Like, that's how often they were getting in the box. They weren't scoring though. The fact that they could kind of hang in there, I think, changed the season for the Sounders. The Sounders were really struggling before that, and that brought the team together. And so from the Sounders' perspective, I think that made that team closer than they've ever been. And so it really helped down the stretch. As a fan, outside of the most annoying fans were the Inter Milan fans. The throwing stuff, and the River Plate fans were great to us. Like, they were fun to hang out with. There weren't a lot of PSG fans. There were a lot of Inter Milan fans though, and it was interesting. I mean, some of them were nice, but some were just way over the top, drunk and getting kicked out of the game and cussing and stuff, which, if you're in the supporter section, I'm like, whatever. But if you're in a section full of kids, maybe chill a little bit.
Yeah, no kidding.
And it's because they were spitting on people. That's really what got me.
Oh, okay.
It's not the yelling, it's the spitting, it's that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Don't throw stuff on the field, don't spit on people.
Have some class.
Yeah. Not that hard. All right, your boy Alex with a question here. What are y'all score predictions for the first leg? Oh
Yeah.
man.
You heard mine 2-1 Tigres. So
Okay.
Oh man, I don't know, dude.
I
It's
think it's gonna be 1-1.
yeah, yeah, same here. I think it's possibly a 1-1, even possibly a 0-0 if the
I could
way
see
things
that for
play out.
sure. The way that Seattle's defense has been and their inability to score. Plus, I mean, to me, I've got to watch the CONCACAF matches for Tigres, but I haven't seen a lot of the league matches this year. So, I mean, just watching the way he dismantled Cincinnati was scary and also very gratifying.
We're very Jekyll and Hyde this
Yeah.
season. That's the best way to put it. Bipolar in so many ways with how we play. But like you said, like CONCACAF has been our more consistent sort of thing. We've got some predictions here. Our friend Edgar saying 2-2 draw. Alex is saying 0-0, 1-1 seems like the most reasonable score line. I think it'll be tight. I don't expect it to be a goal fest in either leg, but especially tomorrow. You know how first legs are on these things. Like
Yeah.
they're very tactical and a
The
lot
way
of
the second one
strategy.
becomes a goal fest is when you're pushing for that goal and it opens up a team at the back. I
Correct.
mean, what's the difference between losing 4-1 to 2-1 when you need those goals? Like,
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Since Cincinnati's very consistent. Trieger saying good Tigres wins 2 or 3-1. Bad Tigres draws.
Yeah,
Either way.
it's
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah, I'm telling you, we have no idea how our team will play tomorrow. It's just so interesting how the season's gone. But I think in either case, it's going to be another great chapter of this matchup where we've had some, like you mentioned earlier, there's been some history with the two sides
Yeah.
this century, and maybe for once it'll go our way. But I know that in either case, like this is a big matchup because these are two of the biggest North American sides as far as like trophies and history and success. Like there's not a lot of bigger sides that you can think of when it comes to Liga MX and MLS
Yeah.
besides us and Seattle. So Alex saying Nahuel is Tigres' is X factor. Man, I hope so because he has kind of been weird the last couple games. Feels like he could be better, but I don't know. That's my opinion. Yeah, I think it'll be a great matchup, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes, and hopefully our team wins. I know Cameron, you're hoping your team wins, but I
mean,
hope
any game at this point, the teams that are left are all well, except for that LA Galaxy, unfortunately, Edgar.
yeah,
But Edgar's harder on the LA Galaxy than anyone else. So.
yeah, yes, he is. We did an episode with him last year at this stage of the CONCACAF tournament, and yeah
as a Seattle sports fan, I get it. I used to, when I lived in the Bay Area, I used to go up to Raiders Seahawks games when the Seahawks were still in division, and they didn't hate me there. I would still wear gray. I wouldn't wear blue because I didn't want to get beat up. But they wouldn't hate me because I was harder on the Seahawks than the Raiders fans were.
Yeah, man, that's great. That is awesome. All right, thank you so much, Cameron.
Happy to be here.
It's been great. Yeah, you're always welcome back. If we cross paths down the line in like a Leagues Cup or whatever, like please come back, and we love to.
That's a strong possibility considering that's coming up soon.
Yeah, you never know how that works out. So,
and also want to congratulate you, Cameron, on all your involvement in the community. I think that's great. I think the game is important, but I think also what we do with our communities and how we build them up is important as well. And I feel like you're very involved, and I just definitely got to commend you for that. And it was great meeting you, and it was great having you on.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Anytime you need me, just let me know. Thank you.
Yes. Tell us and tell our viewers, our listeners, where they can find you and where they can find the Scuttlebutt podcast.
Sounders Scuttlebutt. You can get our Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. I got banned from Twitter personally, so I lost my account because I got hacked, and they thought I was. So it was during the Leagues Cup final versus Miami last year. So I lost my 3,500 followers or whatever, but we are SSFC Scuttlebutt on Twitter. We haven't been totally active on there. but we're getting more active. Sounders _Scuttlebutt on Instagram. You can find me everywhere but X at Legal Minded Punk is my my handle on social media.
I love that. That's awesome. Well, sweet. I'll leave that in the show notes and in our episode description as well, in case anybody wants to find it that way. I tweeted it out on my personal account as well. So if you follow me on Twitter, you can at least find the show's handle, and y'all can follow that account over there if you guys would like. So thank you again, Cameron. We appreciate you. Good luck to your team the rest of the way, and hopefully, like I said, we'll cross paths down the line. So
you as well. Talk to you all soon.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
See you.
Also, shout out to Alex, bro. Alex Diaz, who's co-host, I think, with him on the podcast. So
yes,
awesome for him to kind of join the chat and also give us his takes and his perspective on how the game's going to play out.
Absolutely. Thank you to everybody watching from Seattle or associated with Seattle. We appreciate you guys joining us and being a part of our show tonight. Any last thoughts about that matchup, Lou? I feel like I said, I think it's going to be a really interesting series, especially with how Schmetzer is and just how good of a coach he is. I'm curious to see what he tries to get at as far as like our weaknesses and stuff. I hope he doesn't school Guido a ton, but that is something I'm a little bit worried about.
Yeah, I mean, Guido is still, learning as he goes. He's not a seasoned coach, and these are big games where it will test you as a coach, definitely. Some of the stuff Cameron mentioned kind of worries me a little bit, that they're very good in transition. As you know, we've been poor in transition. We've been error prone, and when they have a striker that can take advantage of errors, that also kind of worries me a bit. It seems like formation wise, tactically, they want to do very similar things to us. 4-2-3-1, play along the wings. Your central attacking mid, he said central attacking mid kind of orchestrates everything. Well, that's sort of, Angel Correa for us as well. So in a way, I see us kind of clashing and maybe having a big battle in that middle third. I think this is going to be a game where the smarter, better coached team will advance. The team that can make less mistakes, that can be more disciplined tactically and on the pitch. So let's see if the boys are dialed in, if they're focused for this match. I think it's going to be a match where we're going to be need to be very focused for the full 180, bro. We can't afford to pull Cincinnati, right? Like what we did in Cincinnati, where we disappeared for like 50 minutes and then we're way behind. If we fall in a situation like that against Seattle where they take a lead on us and it's a substantial lead, it could become a very difficult game, and I just don't see them folding like Cincinnati did. Alex sort of mentioned it. Cincinnati's been very inconsistent. They've had, a few kind of good games, but they've also had some very big lows. So Seattle's not going to be that team. They're well coached. I think they're disciplined as well. So this is one we can't afford to take any moments off, and hopefully we're dialed in.
Yeah, the margin for error is very, very little compared to last series, especially considering the fact that now we're not having the second leg at our place. As a consequence of what happened in the first leg last time, is that we have to play that second leg in Seattle. Although it will be nice to not play on turf if the grass is supposed to be finished at Lumen Field. That actually might help us down in the long run. Looks like we are joined now by our great friend, you know him as Devil Nation, my compatriot up here in DFW, Edgar in the house. Can you hear us? Maybe. Are you there?
Watch. Hey, let before we open up his mic, what's the bet on him having mic issues?
Oh, whatever it is, it's very high.
Hey,
Hey.
LAFC just went up 2-0 against Cruz Azul, bro.
Whoa, 2-0. Wow, I gotta flip that game back on. I was watching the Rangers, and then the Stars just won in overtime.
Bro, watch out. LAFC has been
Bro,
so red
cooking.
hot, bro. And they
Wonka,
took what they did to the Orlando City
bro.
team this weekend was,
Yeah, they cooked him,
yeah, that
man.
was sick, bro.
They absolutely cooked them. Alex saying this game is also going to come down to players having brilliant moments of magic, and yes, grass will be placed in Lumen. Yeah, I definitely some individual brilliance, which that's something that we've relied on over the last little bit. Um, just not just with the men's side, even with the women's side as well. But I think that would be a big deal in this series as well. Like who can break through when it could be really like tight defensively for both sides.
I hope it's not true that Brunetta isn't playing, bro, because you're handicapping us a little bit without him. I think when he's even though he's lacked the scoring this year and the assists, I think he's still very active. You pull a piece away like that, I think it opens up the floodgates for Seattle to be more keen to attack.
Yep.
So that worries me a little bit. I know he hasn't been great, but at the same time, we at least have to show a threat or an intent of being dangerous.
Edgar, are you there now? Maybe.
Can you guys hear me?
Yay! There you are. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm gonna give you a question based on this lineup that Jorge Rosales tweeted out earlier that we alluded to when Cameron was on a second ago. This was the lineup that was put out in training today. Nahuel, Chuy Garza, Romulo, Angulo center backs, Loroña left back, midfield of Goriaran and Araujo, and the forward line is Lainez Ociel, Angel Correa, and El Búfalo Aguirre. Hearing that, seeing that, is that the lineup you would have put out for tomorrow, Edgar, or what would you potentially change?
I think I would have kept Araujo on the bench and I would have put Brunetta in that spot.
Okay, but everything else,
Yeah, everything else I think I would go with. Pretty content with that.
I think it's fair to have Ociel start based off his last performance in this competition. I know that he's not had a lot of great games since then in the league, but maybe he's just an MLS merchant. Truly, he might be. He might be. He might be. Because he always
you,
seems to turn up in those games.
you just never know which Ociel Herrera is gonna show up, bro. I mean, the guy can be brilliant. I mean, there's a reason why they're in the Netherlands. They've been some teams are scouting him, right?
Yeah,
But I mean, who knows? I mean, your guess is as good as mine if he's going to be effective and participate. Sometimes he's a no-show. So hopefully he has a Cincy type game and we can count on him to contribute. But that's a wild card in my book.
yeah. What do you feel about that lineup, Lou? Like, I know you kind of mentioned it with Brunetta, but as a whole, is that the lineup that you would have thrown out?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a good formation. 4-2-3-1. Buffalo up there. I think it's a good one. I prefer 4-1-4-1, but I think in this case, Pizarro's looking to be a little more pragmatic, perhaps a little more balanced, and perhaps he's looking for the clean sheet. I think he's might prioritize that type of low scoring game where if you can sneak out a 1-0 win and now you feel confident going back to Seattle. But like I said, this team hasn't kept clean sheets 3 the entire year. So we'll see. I mean, I think it's also a little bit of a gamble to try to make this a low scoring series. I don't know if we have much of an option, but if I'm Pizarro, I wouldn't play with those types of situations. At
Yeah,
least the message I'm sending to the squad is we have to score. You definitely don't want the message to be a let's keep this a low scoring series and figure it out on the road because we just haven't been able to depend on our defense the entire season.
So basically, what you're saying is
Yes.
ofensiva all the way.
Hay que tener bien puesta la defensa, pero this is a kid's
Man.
show, bro. It's a kid's show. Oh,
Is it? Not when I have to put on the explicit tag
man,
almost every week.
I keep telling you, bro. Keep telling you. We need to keep this PG.
Well, it's fine. Arnoldo's not here, so it's easier to do that. And Alfred, in fairness. Although Edgar and Sus Mama, that's here in a second, could easily
Yeah, he could easily
easily change
derail
that.
us. You never know.
There's always
Really,
50-50 shot.
AJ and I are the only good, well-behaved guys here in this whole podcast.
You're telling me I'm not well behaved? That's crazy.
Nah, you do okay every once in a while. You
Every once in
slip
a
up.
while, cuando no estoy dormido. Like
Put
you were
me,
saying.
Alfred, and Woodsy on an episode.
Oh, forget
Oh
it, bro.
man, bro, a million
That's the
views.
That's the After Midnight podcast, bro.
After midnight, where both countries? Good grief. Oh man, we need Romulo and Joaquin to appear as defense. Well, Joaquin's probably not starting. It looks like it's Angulo. Although I will say it is very nice to have Romulo back, back healthy and back in the squad. We have missed him. I thought he did okay on Friday, in his return back, and he turns up for big games. So I think that he will be a big part of the series. And him and Araujo together, it'll allow them to interchange a little bit, where Araujo could kind of drop deeper and Romulo could even be a little bit more forward because of how well his passing is. I think that's an important thing too, to maybe confuse Seattle a little bit with those guys kind of interchanging positions and having different passing options and passing capabilities with what they can both do. So that's a big boost if he can obviously play the whole series and play at a high level. The game tomorrow is an 8 p.m. kickoff in Monterrey. For those of you who didn't know, it is on TUDN and FS2. We'll talk about next week when we get there, but next week's second leg is a late night, like 10:30 kickoff, Texas time from Seattle.
Pro
So-
tip: catch a late afternoon nap for about an hour or two, and then you'll be fresh for the game.
Yeah. It's that's a good piece of advice there. From
Follow me for more sleeping advice.
That's crazy. Maybe if we're feeling up for it, maybe we may do a watch along for that leg. Can't do one tomorrow, but maybe for that leg if we're feeling crazy.
Yeah, we should do one, man. Let's just do like a late night one.
Oh man, lautimes after dark.
With or without the after hours commentary?
Yes. The answer is yes. Oh man. Okay, real quick. Let's go backwards before we talk about the Chivas game. Obviously, this is a big week for the boys, especially after what happened on Friday in Tijuana, losing 1-0 on the road to a Cholos team that is kind of on the rise, I guess, a little bit. I don't know. There's a lot of teams that feel like they're kind of getting momentum in the league right now, and it's unfortunate to have dropped points on the road again, especially after a game. I think about all of our like bad games that we've had this season, all of our losses, and how the heck did Boanga not score there? I think that game on Friday was the most unlucky we've been all season, because I genuinely didn't feel like we played bad. Like, we weren't like amazing by any stretch of the imagination, first game back from break and all that. But they score a goal that's 0.02 XG, right? They had guys on the field who did not need to be on the field. Like, the referee was really bad once again. Not as bad as Adonai a couple weeks ago, but especially one of their center backs should not have been on the field, and he made a couple big like clearances at the end of the second half when he shouldn't even been on the field. And their goalie was also great. I don't know. It didn't feel like we were awful. We weren't great, but we weren't awful. I don't know. I look back and I'm like, how the heck did we not even get a point from that game on Friday. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like there's some other games where I look back and like, yeah, okay, we kind of sucked. Like the last game against Juarez, like the second half we sucked. We were down a man and we didn't do anything. I didn't feel like we sucked on the road against Cholos. Do y'all agree with me? Do y'all have a different viewpoint? I don't know. I'm still, even to this day, it's Tuesday, that game was Friday. I'm still kind of confused as to how that game turned out.
Yeah, it was a weird one, but I think you can kind of expect that when we go to Tijuana. It just always feels like something weird happens over there. That goal was pretty much the exact same goal from the quarterfinal match, the away game.
The same player,
Same player, same spot, same location, everything
almost
was
the
like
same minute too of the game. It's
I'm like,
ridiculous.
oh man, like but yeah, I'm with you. It felt like we were unfortunate and I don't feel like we did enough to win, but I don't think we played bad enough to lose. I think we deserved a tie, right? I think we can agree on that.
I thought defensively we actually played one of our better games
Yeah.
because we didn't allow a shot.
The only big gripe I have on the game is that at times we didn't have possession. And that was what disappointed me a little bit because we had the formation to do it. We were playing in that 4-2-4 that I kind of like a lot, especially when it comes to having the ball and being able to control the midfield. And I feel like we didn't. Um, I don't know if it was a lack of effort, if just the travel way out there in Baja California, but it just felt like we could have done more to keep the ball. Especially in that first half, I felt like we were making too many passing mistakes, just sloppy at times. And then we were playing with a kid in midfield. I think that kind of don't want to blame the kid too much, but I think he just tactically he wasn't on the same level as his teammates, and at times wasn't at the right spots and that sort of thing. But yeah, I felt like we deserved better. Like you, I just feel like we were a little bit unlucky.
I thought Simeone was honestly not too bad. Like, yeah, like obviously he's not going to be at the level of everybody else, but it didn't feel like he was that out of place in the grand scheme.
You can't cook the kid for
Yeah,
for that.
first
He's
start.
gonna learn. I feel like a lot of times we just expect too much.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
like at times defensively he could have been a little more aggressive. On that play where Kevin Castañeda scored, could he have done a little bit more? Perhaps that really was on Brunetta. Brunetta should have been the one pressing and being in front of the shot. But yeah, like could he have been better defensively? Yes. What I am seeing is that the kid is a lot more keen to push up. I think he took a couple shots. So this is a kid that slowly we can develop him and turn him into a decent backup for at least for now. And I could see Gorriaran throughout the game kind of talking to him and coaching him up and saying, hey, at times I feel like him and Gorriaran were too close together and Gorri was like, dude, hey, let's create a little bit of separation, right? Let's get our spacing right. But some of the comments I heard after the game were just very unfair. Like you can't blame the kid for what happened in the game and really like he wasn't completely out of place. I think there was a few good things that you can look at and say, yeah, we can polish him up. We could definitely get him up to par.
And it's not like we're in a luxury with the youth minutes, right? Like we have to get minutes somehow. We're still the last place team uh as far as that goes. We have I think a little less than 900 at this point. So you needed him to play,
Yeah.
and I mean, all things considered, it wasn't a bad debut for him. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, like world beater, but it's like, hey, like
Yeah, yeah. He didn't soil the bed or anything.
yeah, he did what he could. Uh, like you said, like grew as the game kind of went on. Like did some things that maybe we weren't expecting from him, and it is what it is. I don't think you can expect too much more out of a kid who his first appearance was last week in Arkansas in that friendly or 2 weeks ago. So, um, yeah, I thought he was fine. Edgar, I know that you've been kind of keeping tabs on him and have been really excited about Simeone as well. So I don't know if you want to add anything to what we just mentioned about him / anything that you want to mention about that game, but I'll leave you to it if you have any thoughts.
No, I mean I think you guys pretty much covered the essentials. Overall, kid did all right. Wasn't out of this world. Wasn't terrible, but I think you can only go up from there. I think we'll definitely be seeing a couple more minutes from him. And as far as like our overall performance, I don't think Tigres played like a team that wanted 3 points, and it kind of shows. Uh, could have been little bit better, but if you ask me, did Cholos play like the team that wanted 3 points? Absolutely not. So overall, yeah, it just came down to being unlucky.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, enough about that. Obviously, we know that at this point, with the league especially, the margin for error is virtually zero. We got really lucky that for all of the top teams this weekend, it was weird. Like everybody lost or drew. Like Rayados had a chance to jump up on us. They did not because they lost at home. America had a chance to jump on us big time. They only got a point. Cruz Azul lost. Pumas and Chivas tied. Toluca lost. Pachuca was the only team I think in the top 8 that won their game. So we got lucky that the damage was not that bad. But looking ahead as we transition now to talking about this Saturday's game against Chivas at home, it's the biggest game of the season because of the fact that you're playing a team that's first place in the league or second or wherever they're at now. You're playing a team that has been in form for most of the season. They have a young group that's got a good coach, and they have a lot of energy. You couple that with the fact that we haven't been that good at home this season, and we need a performance to kind of turn that around. And like I said, the margin for error now is very minimal because you're only sitting, I think, a point or two above ninth place now that we're sitting back in eighth place. So what do we think about just where we're at with that Chivas matchup, especially in the context of what's going to happen tomorrow? Like how much lineup change do we expect to see? I almost think that the lineup change is going to be very minimal. If I had to guess, like we don't have the luxury of like really like switching things up because we really need the points. We really need to get a good result at home. So how do we feel about just Chivas and how we match up against them as of now?
It's gonna be a tough game, bro. Really tough game. I think this is a tough game. A game where I don't think we can be too optimistic on. Very dynamic team. I think they're gonna threaten us pretty much the full 90. This is gonna team that's gonna give us fits for a lot of reasons. And I think it comes at a bad time, and not because it's the season or anything, but it's because I think we're gonna be a little more focused on the Sounders, being that an elimination series, than on them. And so I think that kind of weakens us a bit. Yeah, this is not one where I'm gonna be expecting 3 points. I want the three, and I hope the boys show up, but I think this might be a tough one for us.
Edgar?
Yeah, I mean, I actually am expecting the 3 points, but I will say it's not going to be easy. I think this Chivas side is probably one of the better ones since 2023. They're having a really good run, and it's not going to be easy. Uh, yeah, and I don't know what the lineup will look like, but I do think it's still going to be very similar to what we are going to see against the Sounders.
I feel like we, yes, it's been a really straight season. Yes, it's been really frustrating. Yes, we should not be in eighth place. But based on the fact that in this season, when we've played some of the bigger teams, we've kind of turned up a little bit and we've kind of performed at least at that level. Thinking about the Toluca game back in January, I felt like we played good in moments against Cruz Azul as well. Obviously, the Rayados game, that's always a big game, and we stepped up in that moment. So couple that with the fact that I feel like we have improved defensively over the last couple games. I mean, obviously not keeping clean sheets kind of hurts that argument a little bit, but that goal on Friday was a fluke, and then the goals against Juarez were really strange ones as well. I feel like we've had better performances on that end of the field, even though the numbers don't necessarily like show that over the last couple of games in the league. And against a team that's going to have a lot to throw at you with Hormiga and Piojo and all the other guys they have up in their front line. Yeah, it's going to be tough, but I think the boys will turn up. I really do. And I think there has to be a sense of urgency from the team to take advantage of this week to kind of change the narrative on how we've been playing at home this season as a whole. And I imagine that they're going to turn up real well over these next couple games with Seattle tomorrow and with Chivas on Saturday. And historically, like these games against Chivas, especially at home, are pretty exciting. So I do expect it to be not a stalemate. I will say that. Not to be that guy, but the fact that I will physically be there on Saturday gives you even more hope because
that changes things for me, Dennis.
As you guys know, my record there is pretty good over the last.
I went from not optimistic to fully optimistic.
That's crazy.
I went from 1-0 win to 5-0.
That's extreme. I don't know, man. I don't think we're playing as bad as it seems. There's some improvement. Romulo coming back again is a big deal. Helps out our back line a ton. But here's what I will say. The X Factor is a guy who, is always an X Factor, but it's a guy that he needs to step up because frankly, over his last 7 games, he has not stepped up as far as goal contributions, and that's our star, Angel Correa. This is his dry spell. This has been his first big dry spell as a Tigres player, and what better week to kind of change that and to get going again as far as like scoring goals and providing assists than this week against a really strong Seattle team and against a really strong Chivas team. I need him to step up because that's obviously been a big reason why we have not done as well this season is that we haven't seen the consistently brilliant Correa that we saw last season so far. I'm hoping that changes, and we need it to change in order for us to have any sort of success the rest of the way through. So with that in mind, and because I will be there on Saturday, 2-1 Tigres. That's
Let's
my
go.
Drieger saying 4-0.
Man, Drieger. Not holding back, bro.
What you think, Lou?
If they win 4-0, Drieger, lunch on me the following Monday.
You got to drive up to Austin.
No, I'll just send them a cash app, baby.
There you go.
I never pick against Tigres, so I won't. So I'm going to go with a 1-1 tie.
Okay. Edgar, are you sticky with your 5-0?
Yep. I refuse to move it.
I love it. I love that energy. Saturday at, I believe, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. Probably 8 o'clock here in Texas. In all the usual spots. As you guys know, Fox, Telemundo, Peacock, 4-0 because I'm going to be there. Thank you. And Lou's favorite TV station, Estrella TV.
Post game, baby.
I can't with you. Okay. Moving on to Las Amazonas. 2 games last week. A win on the road against Cholos the night before the men played. And then a very, honestly, really entertaining game. Really physical game at home. Against Chivas on Sunday in a 2-2 draw. 1 game left in the regular season. I think the highest we can get to up at this point is 3rd. if I remember correctly. I don't think we can get to second. We definitely can't get to first at this point. But the girls are currently on FIFA break with 1 game left remaining, and that 1 game left remaining when we come back is against the league leaders and against the neighbors in Rayadas in the Clásico Regio Femenil. So that'll be exciting here in a few weeks. But how do we feel about the girls after this past week, getting 4 points out of 6, having some good patterns of play and some good moments here and there, but still seeing a lot of the problems that have been present throughout the season, especially from a coaching perspective?
I think it was a good, solid win on the road for them. I think like I said, it's not an easy place to play at. I think even if you take a small win, not by a big margin, I think you're happy. So I was pleased with the results at Tijuana. What's kind of still not fixed, I think, is our slow starts and how vulnerable we look against the better teams. I think against all the good teams this season, we've struggled. Um, Against Chivas, we basically the first half we took the first 45 minutes off and then had to scramble to come back in the second half. I think we played better, but in its situations that once again are going to kill us once Liguilla comes around. It's just not looking good against the big teams, and we got one more big test coming up at the end of the season, and so we'll kind of know where we stand. But it's not promising. I think it's looking a little bleak, especially since we won't be able to close at home, and we won't have that home field advantage. Once we get past semis um, or quarterfinals. So I think there's a lot of red flags there. I'm still not seeing us connect in a lot of ways. I think we struggle to string passes together. It's just, to me, it just continues to come down to the coaching. I don't think we're well coached. I don't think we have an identity, and I think there's still positions where Pedro Loza hasn't figured it out. I mean, sometimes you play Mia Villalpando as left fullback, and then you go with Marisa, and then you go with Jimena Lopez. He just hasn't quite figured it out, and I think it just shows that he's just not confident with his system and what's happening on the pitch. So I just don't see us being as dominant as we have been in previous years. I think we're gonna struggle in Liguilla.
On a slightly more positive note, I did like that there was some consistency in the lineup over the 2 games. I thought that was a little bit of a surprise, him keeping pretty much the same lineup, and the fact that Corginelli was starting with Diana both games. Long may that continue. By the way, Diana Ordonez has an oblique injury that she picked up, I believe, on Sunday. So she's going to be out for a little bit. Hopefully that's not too bad. Shout out Emma Watson for her assist on Thursday. That was a great cross to get Diana's goal there. But Lou, I think you're right. There's just too much still, and feels like we've been beating this dead horse for the longest time. Like there's still just way too much reliance on individual brilliance in order for us to get goals, to get results. Like that Maria Sanchez goal on Sunday, prime example. Like she read that situation really well, got the right amount of power into that shot, and it went in. And maybe if that's somebody else, that doesn't happen. But you need that little bit of individual brilliance to kind of get you by and to get you a good result, or at least get a point back in that scenario. So, yeah, I'm a little concerned as well. Feels like in midfield we don't have the right people in. Like there's still just a lot of shuffling in midfield, between Mayor and Jenny Hermoso and Delgado and Emma. Like there's just a lot of shuffling going on, and I need Pedro to settle on the best 3 before we get to Liguilla. Feels like he has not found that yet. And obviously, I stand by this as I have all season. But Mia Villalpando should be a starter, even at her very young age. Like just the way that she can contribute on both ends, especially from an offensive perspective, is a big deal. How can we bring back Nati and Ferral? Says Streetger.
Which, speaking of Nati, bro, I love that battle with Anika, man. It's
That was
just
fun.
like
That was fun.
two fierce competitors going at it. That was awesome. When Anika would push up and then would have to face against Nati, I was like, man, that's like two forces clashing against each other. It was
Yeah.
just so good to watch. I'm like, man, I love it when it's very competitive like that, but without any ill feelings, right? I mean, it's just
Right.
two people going at it full blast, and I love that matchup. I was like, man, it's two girls that love to win and just love to battle.
Absolutely. Also, very interesting that Anika's basically played every minute since she came back. Like she just was immediately thrown into the pit of fire, and has started and hasn't really been subbed out. I know she got subbed out on Sunday, but um, I think that's really interesting by Pedro to just immediately throw her back in, and instead of just like kind of easing her back in. I thought that's been a really interesting bit over the last few games ever since she has been healthy again. Edgar, were you gonna say something? No? I'm gonna take that as a no. Um, where do you think we end up? Do we end up in third, fourth, fifth?
I think fourth is probably more likely, depending on how that Rayadas game at the end goes. I mean, you could potentially drop, but I think fourth is probably where we end up.
I mean, it gets us a home second leg, first round, but yeah, then you're looking at ending on the road the rest of the way, unless you know the teams above us fail and drop their series, which seems difficult because the top end of the table has been really strong this season in our league, which is a testament to how everybody's improved. Um, but it's going to be tough to potentially have to play, a semifinal second leg on the road and a final second leg on the road as well. Should we get there? But as Drieger says, miracles happen.
Yeah. And I mean, we have the talent, right? These girls could potentially flip the switch and make a fabulous run and prove us all wrong. But it doesn't change the fact that we're not well coached, that we're not functioning at the level that we need to be at. I think we have to be tough on them in that regard. I think we have to demand more, and
Yep.
and I think we talked about this new president change, club president change coming up in June. I think that's one of the jobs that they really need to look at and say, hey, can we improve this managerial spot? And in my opinion, the answer is yes. I think we could do a lot better. And so we'll see what happens. I think even if you were to make that magical run, the miraculous run, and win it all again this year, it still leaves a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth how we've been so up and down for quite a bit under Pedro Losa. So,
Yep.
um, I think that we need to get back to our basis, back to the identity we had under Batocleti and under Medina. I'm not saying that we're gonna just mop the floor with every other team in the league and win everything, but I think we need to have an identity. We need to have a style of play, and I think we need more intensity, better play, something that the fans can be proud to watch, and perhaps bring back some of the fans we've lost along the way.
Yep. No kidding. Edgar, are you back?
Yes. And we
Any?
need a coach. For me, I'll go ahead and say this. The difficult part's not which stadium we're playing a semifinal or a final in. It's dealing with the coach that we have. That's the difficult part.
Yeah. Yeah, you couldn't have said it better. Um, you would think by now that he would have something identifiable with his style and with the way that he rotates in and out, and it's just not there. And like you mentioned, Lou, the slow starts have been a really big problem, um, especially this season. So obviously, we'll talk about them down the line as we get towards the Guia and as we talk about that Femenil Clásico Regio. Um, but it was nice to get that point at home. It didn't look like we were going to get it. Chivas did a good job of being physical and kind of frustrating us at some points, even though we had a lot of possession on Sunday. But it was nice for Maria to score that goal and to get something out of that game. It was a really interesting game. Like I said, I thought that both teams played well in various stages and a lot of interesting patterns of play here and there. So, yeah, that's it with them. Like I mentioned, we'll talk about them towards the end of the month when they resume, when they come back from break, and as we get towards the playoffs for them. Real quick before we get to our spotlight moments and start to wind down here, going back to the men really quickly. Do you guys know the last time that Tigres lost at least 6 games in a season?
Was it 2010?
Nope. Lou?
Man, not under Tuca, right?
Nope. It was actually quite recent, and it was actually a tournament that ended up pretty decent for us. Clausura
Was it the
2023.
Chima Ruiz era?
No,
It
Clausura
wasn't where.
2023. Uh, aka our last league title. We
Well, that was
lost.
Chima then. That
It was
was Coca,
Chima
Chima,
33.
and
Yeah.
then
Yes.
Siboldi, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's only because we went through that little stretch after Coca left where kind of things fell apart a little bit
Yep.
under Chima.
Yep. So all I'm saying is, even though the situation is not great right now, last time we had this amount of losses, it ended up turning out okay. I'm not saying I'm predicting a championship in this moment because I don't think we're necessarily to that point, but
Yeah,
anything
and I
can
think
happen.
we need to look at the men's side a lot differently than we would how we judge the women's side because it is
3
going to be.
0 LAFC.
Whew, bro, they are so
Holy
lethal, bro. This
lethal.
Venezuelan kid, bro.
Yeah, dude.
David, what's his
The
last name? David
Martinez, Javi Martinez, yeah.
Martinez.
The torched us last
My
year in that Leagues Cup
God, he is
preseason
just
game,
so fast, bro.
and his dribbling has gotten so
Unbelievable.
much better. Yeah, great kid. Anyway, go ahead.
I lost my train of thought because I'm seeing this golazo. um, yeah, you just can't judge it the same because it's gonna be. I keep going back to it. It's gonna be a totally different tournament in Liguilla. It's like wipe everything away and just start over. And so a lot of it is just gonna come down to your emotional state, your confidence, and I think anything can happen. To me, this is going to be a totally different season than others. I do have some major concerns with the men's side, especially defensively. I think that worries me a lot. But like I trust some of our players to step up and offensively to give us a spark. So anytime you have guys like Correa, Bruneta, Ozzy that could kind of rise up to another level and give you scoring, then you have a good shot. But I think a lot of it is going to depend on how we do defensively. And then
Yes.
that's why I just don't judge them the same with Femenil. Femenil is
Right.
because it's going to be more of a standard tournament where errors do kind of get magnified in the big game. So we'll see. I still have quite a bit of confidence on the men's side. I think we're going to make a good run. But we'll see.
Long way to go. Hopefully, though, we can even get there because again, the margin for error with the men right now is very very thin, especially with how a lot of the teams under eighth place have gone, have kind of picked up some form, and it's gotten really tight at that end of the table. So, we'll see what happens, and we will talk about it as it happens. Okay, as we start to wind down, it's time for our weekly spotlight moments. Edgar, I see that you've written, I think, at least 3, if I remember correctly. You want to go through them? If you're there, Edgar. No, okay, I'll say the first one then. First up on the spotlight moment is, we mentioned it earlier, the youth minutes. We need about 300 left. So that's the first one. Number 2 is an extension of what we talked about, I think, last week or the week before. Chuy Garza, official announcement of his extension. That was announced by the club earlier today. Breaking news, Lou is currently in 2 places at once. He's currently recording this podcast, and he's also playing soccer in Los Angeles.
Hat trick incoming.
Could you imagine, bro? La locura if he scores 3 in 30 minutes, bro. That'd be crazy. So yeah, that happened. There has been some clarity about the Guido Pizarro extension. There were some reports that were saying that it was through 2028. The extension actually lasts until the last day of next year. So his contract expires December 31st of 2027.
As first posted by Tigres English, by the way.
Correct, as we know.
Who did I quote? Who did I quote tweet on that, or did I not quote tweet anybody?
I don't remember. I honestly don't remember if you did or not.
I think I just said per multiple sources. It runs.
Yeah, because it all
but
kind
I
of broke
think
at the same time.
I think Bayo was the one that might have mentioned that it was end of the year, end of December.
Something like that. Threaker saying, just letting y'all know the Bohanga timeline is incoming. Yes, we know. He's torching this Cruz Azul defense as we all thought he would. Gosh, he really should be playing in our league. Okay, here's a stupid thing from the spotlight moment. There's a rumor going around today that I don't want to spend too much time on. In fact, I really don't want to spend any time on it at all, but since it involves our team, we have to at least say something about it to a degree. Rumors going around that River Plate is interested in Angel Correa, which, just to put a bow on it, it's not happening because 1, they're broke, so they can't pay his wages. 2, they're broke, so they can't pay his transfer fee. And 3, they're broke because all Argentinian teams are broke. And number 4, he just got here. He's not moving back to Argentina now, and he's not abandoning this project now. Full stop.
I'll say this now that my microphone's working. I can relate to the River Plate fans and the River Plate front office. I'm interested in a Ferrari.
You mean I'm interested in World Cup tickets?
That part.
I'm interested in a house in Lake Como, bro. So yeah, I think we can all relate.
It's just not happening.
Nope.
Contract is what, runs through summer of 2030 or something like that.
Yeah, 30 or 31. I think it's 30 though. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if they bring an 18-wheeler full of cash, we can talk. But until that happens,
But even then, like, I think he's untouchable for me at this point.
18-wheeler of cash will get them Joaquin.
There we go. Now we're talking. And then we can go sign Jimenez from Atleti and bring in one of Correa's buddies. Now we're talking. Yeah, it was a
no. I mean, Correa is a guy that this front office is gonna want to build around. So I mean, it's a crazy statement to make, right? That there's interest, like.
Yeah, and he is the Gignac successor as far as like who is the superstar of Tigres in this next era. So
No
Full
question
stop.
about it.
Yeah, that rumor just needs to just go away. Okay. This was not written down in your spotlight moments, Edgar, but I wanted to bring this up because this popped up on my Instagram today. A big shout out to our Amazonas sub 19 game or 19 team because over the weekend they won the International Girls Cup, which is awesome, which was actually a tournament that was played here in DFW over in McKinney. So shout out to them. I don't know who they beat. I don't know how exactly it happened, but they won and they've got this big old trophy that looks just like the Champions League trophy, basically. So shout out to the sub 19 girls.
I was a little bummed out to hear to read that tweet because I usually keep up with that little tournament and I didn't this year. I don't know if maybe they just didn't make too much noise on it, but in previous years I've kind of kept up with like followed the bracket and everything, and this year I just didn't see anything on my timeline regarding it and I totally missed it. So shout out to them, congrats. I think they pretty much win it every year, at least since I've been following it. They reach the final and win it, so that just kind of shows how great we're doing on that end.
Absolutely. I lost my train of thought. I was gonna say something really kind of stupid, but I guess it wasn't stupid enough to say it. This is random. There is a little sale going on Tigre Tienda for a couple things. If you guys are interested in that, surprisingly, there's still Earth Day kits from a couple years ago that are still floating around on the store. So
Which one? The sand and the
yeah,
forest
the sand one, bro.
and the
sand one's
water.
still kicking. So, if you need one, you can get one for like 70% off, I guess.
Which Earth Day is coming up right later this month.
Yeah, I
If
wonder.
there'll be another release.
Bring it back, maybe, perhaps. We'll see what happens there. Edgar, talk about this this other youth cup that did not happen, or that we were not a part of, or whatever.
Yeah, so similar to Lou, I normally keep up with the Dallas Cup. It's local. Tigres usually comes out here every year. You know, one of the bigger teams or bigger institutions that participates, along with the FC Dallas Academy, Manchester United, just to name some other big teams that come out here and play. I think this is the first time, at least within the last 5 years, that Tigres has not made an appearance. Kind of surprising, very disappointing. Especially when we're in a state where we're trying to develop these youth players a lot more and try to like bring out, in-house talent. I was really surprised to read that one, this tournament took place and I didn't keep up with it, and two, Tigres did not participate.
Yeah, very disappointing.
There's been some good teams like Edgar mentioned in the past. I think we played River Plate one year, and some Brazilian teams show up and European teams. So it's one I think that's really good for the boys is to get that kind of exposure, that kind of competition. Hopefully we come back.
All right, I've got a little from the vault for us. Throwing it back to the last time we played Seattle, which was a 3-0 loss on the road in the 2021 Leagues Cup quarterfinal, back when Leagues Cup was like 8 teams or 16 teams or whatever. Oh man, can y'all guess the starting lineup for this game? Man.
That was Piojo Herrera era.
Yep.
So he was in love with Luis Q. So was Luis Quiñones on the lineup?
Orey mentioned drink. Somebody drink something somewhere. Yes.
I had to throw it in there first, bro. So Luis Q. Man, oof. 2021. Bigon?
Nope. He came on later, but he did not start.
Soteldinho.
No.
What a crap lineup.
Jordi Caicedo?
Nope. Wasn't on the team.
So that would have been Carlos Gonzalez, El Charlie?
Charlie.
He started.
We're going from
Yep.
bad to worse in this lineup.
Yep.
In the back line would have been still Guayala, right?
Yeah.
Chaca
Dueñas?
Rodriguez.
Nope. Wasn't even in the list. Flo, yeah. Drieger saying Flo. Champon de Mon, yes. He was there.
Tobon. Juninho was gone by then, right? So
Yeah.
no Juninho.
Correct. Yeah.
Who was the other center back then?
Salcedo?
Nope.
Tercero.
Nope.
Yeah, this is a crap lineup.
Oh man, bro, you're really making my brain. Well, Nahuel
Right.
goalkeeper.
No.
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 So Miguel Ortega, a goalkeeper.
Yeah. Miguel Ortega. Samir did not play. He was not on the team. Drieger.
So Uguayala with another center back. Was it Purata?
Nope.
Oh man, who would have been the center back? Diego
I'm
Reyes?
Yep, there you go. There you go. Yeah, Diego Reyes. I don't think you're gonna get any of the rest of it, so I'm just gonna say it. Left back, Paco Venegas played the whole
Wild.
game. Reyes, Ugayala. Right back, you definitely would not have gotten this. Eric Avalos.
Who the
Oh
hell's
wow,
that?
he played with the kid.
Yeah, bro.
Wow. Yeah,
Midfield.
youth guy. He actually was decent, but Jesus Garza overshadowed him quite a bit. Go ahead, bro.
Midfield of Jesus Dueñas, David Ayala.
The youngster.
Yeah.
Another youngster.
And in the 10 was Leo Fernandez,
Crazy times.
who I loved. Luis Q, Flo, and Charlie. Subs were Javier Aquino, Rayful, Carioca, Vigon, and Nico Lopez. Other guys on the bench who didn't play this game include Aldo Cruz and Juan Burata and a ton of kids.
We got totally cooked in that game. I
Cooked!
remember I was so frustrated. I was already calling for Piojo's head right there.
Absolutely cooked, bro. Not even close. I think Rui Diaz scored like 1 or 2 on us and just torched us that day.
Yeah, they absolutely owned us.
The last
Man.
time that Tigres and Chivas played each other at home, where Chivas came to Monterrey, was August of 2024. So it's been a couple years since that game. Any guesses on that lineup? It was a 1-1 draw.
Gignac
Uh-huh.
up top.
Uh-huh. Not the only striker.
Cordova.
Uh-huh.
Nico Ibanez.
Uh-huh. Gignac missed a penalty and scored a regular goal.
So in the midfield, 2024, Luis Q was still around?
Q was not on the. No, he was not.
Okay, so no Luis Q. Javier Aquino.
Yep.
Backline would have been 2024, August 2024. Samir still? Or
Nope.
was he gone already?
No, he was gone.
Angulo,
Angola was playing left back,
left back, right? Okay.
which means the center backs would have been.
Man,
One of them is Edgar's favorite player right now.
not Tercero.
No. The other one, aka the one he wants gone.
Joaquim,
Uh-huh.
Purata.
Nope. Guido.
Oh, Guido. I should have guessed that, Guido. And then right fullback would have been.
Aquino was the right
Oh,
fullback.
Aquino was right fullback. So left fullback,
Was Angulo.
Angulo. Okay. So what am I missing? The holding mids?
You're missing, two midfielders.
Gorri,
Uh-huh.
Gorri, Brunetta?
No, Brunetta
No,
came off
because
the bench.
Cordova played, right?
Brunetta came off the bench this game. You're missing a midfielder and a forward/winger.
Ozzy?
Yep.
And then the midfielder, is that a defensive mid or
Yes.
in 2024 the defensive mid?
One of the best midfielders in club history. Brazil.
Oh, Carioca. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Now, the player that I did not mention was who played goalie, because the starting goalkeeper that day was not Nahuel Guzman, because he was suspended at the time.
Filipao?
Nope, it was Fernie Tapia.
Oh, wow. Yes.
Do I remember
of
him
his-
starting that game? Nope. Not at
Yeah,
all.
that would have been one of his first starts, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
something like notable subs: Diego Lainez, Marcelo Flores, Juan Bruneta, Vigon, and Diego Reyes. And the bench was a lot of guys that are currently on the roster. So last time out that we played Chivas was a 0-0 draw back in September. Actually, the last 3 times we played them, we've drawn. So maybe
Yeah, we played in that 4-2-4 against them last time, which I thought was pretty nice. It was kind of a tale of two halves. We completely dominated possession the first half, and then they dominated possession in the second half and had the better chances.
Yep.
So it was kind of like we split 50-50, but nobody scored.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So hopefully there will be a different result, a winning result, preferably. The next time we match up with them on Saturday. Actually, the last time that we did not defeat Chivas, that we lost to Chivas, actually, can you guess when that was?
The last time that we didn't win? Is that what you're saying?
That we lost to them.
Was it Clausura 2023?
Yes.
No, because
yes, but not
in
the final.
in the regular season. Yeah.
2-1.
Yeah.
At home. I don't remember that game at all. Ibanez scored a penalty. Sepulveda, the center back, not the forward, scored in like the second minute. I do not remember that game at all. Could not tell you. But ever since then, we have either drawn or beaten them. So long may that streak continue. That's all I gotta say. Anything else that I'm missing before we call it wraps?
I think we're good.
Edgar? Anything missing from your glorious outline? So glorious that it was in the notes tab today? If you're there.
He
Edgar?
left us with his dog.
Yeah,
but his
bro,
dog doesn't have a thumb, so he can't move the mouse around.
Bro,
Open up. Poor dog's probably trying to tell us something, bro, but he can't unmute himself.
bro, can't say anything crazy. Yeah, I think we're good. Well, this was fun. This is a good show. Thank you for everybody who's joined us live. Chat was great tonight. Threeger heavy per usual, but especially at the beginning, we had a pretty lively chat. So thank y'all for joining us. We will be back next week to hopefully discuss 2 victories. We'll look ahead to the second leg against Seattle. Like I said, we may or may not do a watch along for the second leg next week, which will be next Wednesday. But yeah, and hopefully I'll have some good story time from my trip to Monterrey this weekend involving the game and all that as well next week. So come back for that. per usual, check us out on all of our socials, all of our handles, all of our links. Look at the screen, look at the show notes, look at the episode description, look at all the things in order to get that. Don't forget to follow our friends from Seattle on the socials as well. As I mentioned earlier, all the stuff will be in the show notes and episode description as well. If you want to be a part of the show, let us know. If you want to be part of the watch along next week, let us know. It sounds like it may be Lou and me at least for that. But if you want to at least join us for a portion of that, let us know. We'll get you hooked up with all that when we get there. So join us for that. And we will talk to you guys next week when we come back here on the Lou Times podcast. For Edgar, for Lou, for me, Dennis, for Cameron from Seattle Scuttlebutts. Thank you for joining us tonight. Have a great rest of your week. And arriba Lou. We'll talk to you guys a week from now. Bye-bye.
Peace.